We live in a very fascistic time, a time of strong men, and this is really related to the economic times. In the same way, fascism during the 20s and 30s was related to the Depression, you had World War One, and when people are desperate, when people are down on their luck, often their hate is redirected towards another. And that's what we're seeing across the globe today. So today I wanted to do a fascism test and see how fascistic and how much is seeped into my brain. So let's get straight into the fascism test. So I found this online. As an American legal scholar, David S. D'Amato has pointed out, much of the meaning contained in the word fascism has been lost in its constant and lazy employment as a general term of abuse. Through fascism and fascist, though fascism and fascist has long been a pejorative catchwords employed by both left and right in the denouncement of anything they don't like, fascism is in fact not a catch-all but a definitive political ideology. I don't think it's a political ideology. I don't think it's an ideology. It's changes and shifts with time. There's no coherence there. There's tendencies, anti-intellectualism, nativism, opponents to the left, a sense of victimhood, a advocate for violence, and certain tendencies that we are seeing across the world now, unequivocally. So it's not a unique thing, and it's not something we should individualize and personalize and be like, "Oh, you're a fascist." No, these are historical tendencies. In the same way, in the good times, it seems like we kind of get along a bit better economically, and in downturns, it's when things go wrong. So let's get straight into the quiz. They reference academics and historical tendencies of fascism. It's 28 questions, so let's get straight into it. So, ethics is a matter of statecraft. Whatever furthers the interests of the state is good, whatever inhibits it is bad. Um, well, I think there's a lot of misconstruence around socialism, like socialists control everything. No, really, true socialism is controlled by the people. It's a democratic mandate of they own the workplaces. They have a voice in how things are operating. It's true democracy. So the state, it's not about the state, it's about the people. And it's about the state redirecting the will of the people. So I disagree strongly with that. I just don't. The state, that's not a means to an end. With fascism, it is. The state is everything. It's you kind of just give your whole life. You give up critical thinking. You give up your body to the state, whether you're a man or a woman. And that's not freedom. That's the opposite of freedom. And people don't want it. They think they want it. They're lied and manipulated to believe that they want a strong man. But it's because there's so much uncertainty, so much change, so much transience in our times that people kind of like have an emotional bias like, oh, a strong man will sort this. But we know that doesn't happen. We know. We're seeing it with Trump right now. People are going, oh, yeah, maybe he's not the guy. Obviously, he's not the guy. So let's move on. Running a business is not very hard. And as a rule, the business owner doesn't possess any special skills that are not also possessed by his workers. Um, Running a business is not very hard. As a rule, it depends. Like some businesses will be more difficult to run than others if it's a big, huge, complex business. But I don't think necessarily a business owner or someone can't be ran by someone who's a bit lower. Like we're not talking about like magic here. We're talking about skills that can be learned. And I think most skills can be learned. So I disagree when it's very hard to. I kind of agree with that. I think most people would be able to learn what most CEOs do. What do they do? Writing memos, they do meetings. I think your average person could run a business if they were given the skill set. And that would just mean training. And I think 9 times out of 10, I think someone could pretty much learn a business. Like, organizations like the Freemasons and similar secret lodges cannot be trusted since they have their own agendas. Um, I mean, the Freemasons seem pretty innocuous from what I know. Do they have influence? There's a lot of conspiracy theories around them. I mean, it seems like it was a men's club. Maybe there's a dark side that I don't know about. I don't. Just secret lodges. Like, I don't like these kind of things because it's just a secret lodge man's club. It's a very, I don't know. I've never met a man who has been in one of these clubs. Is it an elite thing? Is it like the boys' club? Like cannot be. Yeah, no, I don't trust them. They don't seem like they're necessarily helping people. Or do they help people? The Freemasons, are they there to kind of help people broadly? I don't know. Warfare is the only state that truly shows what you are given. Warfare is the only state that truly shows you what a given people is made of. Obviously not. But fascism is a constant war. They're constantly, and we see this in the UK, you see it Reform with Trump, they're constantly battling the other. It's like the great replacement theory. It's left woke ideology. They're constantly whining. They whinge constantly going on about it. So yeah, they want the war. It's their fantasy. They love it. Like warfare to them, it gives meaning to life. And how sad is that life? Like that constant, and I do have sympathy with it because a lot of these people grew up where you are constantly, people are attacking you, and it's insecurity. Like if you feel constantly attacked, and maybe you grew up in an environment where you were criticized a lot, and your parents didn't give you affirmations, it was more criticism. You're going to internalize that, and people think people that, especially poorer people, certain socioeconomic status, they'll kind of be like, perceive any attack because they've had it their whole lives in some way as kind of like coming after them. It's like, and they're very weary, and I understand that, and I have sympathy for that. And we just need to make people's life better, but we're not going to do it under Labour. We're not going to do it under neoliberalism, and that's where it is hard to convince people that sharing and attacks on wealth and redistribution of wealth is the solution because a lot of people have been convinced that that isn't the solution, and often by wealthy people, the legacy media, people who don't want to share the wealth. So, yeah, sad. The honor and worth of a people is proportional with the contributions it has made to global civilization. If people can, if a people has not contributed much, it is of little. Completely disagree. Why? I mean, the Senegalese of India, what have they? That's an amazing thing. Like, they are our past. They're an embodiment of a lifestyle that we would have engaged with for hundreds of thousands of years. Do they contribute to the GDP? No. But is it amazing that they exist? Of course it is. So, no. And this is a fascistic thing. The honor and worth of people is put to, like, that's it. That's why they hated the disabled. And we see a lot of ableism in society because people are only based on their utility. And we see this even with Labour. Can you work? If not, you're useless to society. And that's when we get into eugenics and kind of people aren't contribute. And this is a fascistic tendency we've seen over the last 20 years, if not longer, of benefit scroungers and people who ain't. Half of people are on benefits or in work. They need their low wages supplemented by the taxpayer. That ain't right. So that's an interesting one, but obviously disagree. People shouldn't be allowed to spread dangerous political beliefs or ridicule those with whom they disagree without the permission of the proper authorities. Disagree. I mean, people shouldn't be allowed to spread dangerous political beliefs or ridicule. I mean, that's that is a really good question. Like, should you be able to spread neo-Nazi, white supremacist, Islamic fundamentalist beliefs? Should we crack down on that? Like, where's the limit of freedom of speech? Because I don't like it. I don't think you should be doing it. I don't think we should be spreading hate. But should it be made illegal? Should you be punished? And I don't know. Like, where is the line between? I think obviously there's a line where it becomes violent and you're advocating for violence. But does it come before that? I think in some cases it does. But should we suppress people who have different opinions to us? I don't think so. It doesn't help. It doesn't help. So that it's a really good question. People shouldn't be allowed to spread danger or ridicule those with they just. I think you should be able to ridicule anybody, like with good intentions. Like if you can ridicule the folly of a group, whoever it is, I think that's good. But you can't just focus on certain people. You've got to spread it about. You know, it's easy just to attack Muslims or trans people or disabled people. Who's got the power? Who's got the influence here? It's not those people. Like the biggest threat to you today is the Labour Party. It's not Muslims. It's not trans people. It's not immigrants. It's Keir Starmer, objectively. And it's the wealthy people he's been backed by. Anyway, without permission of the proper authority. So disagree with that one. People who seek happiness through money and material comfort will never achieve it. I agree with that massively. If you seek happiness through money and material comfort, I don't think you will achieve it. I think you have to find it's cheesy, but you have to find that within yourself. If you constantly seeking like, oh, I'm gonna get the bigger house, bigger car, bigger yacht. These people are deeply unhappy people. Like Elon Musk, richest man on the planet, he's a mess. He's a train wreck, ketamine addict, dysfunctional relationships with women and his own children. These people aren't happy because they're insecure and they're trying to fill that void, which will never be filled, by the way. You will never fill the void of your own being. And once you know that, you'll be happy. Once you know you'll never really be happy, you'll be happy. But these people don't know that. They think, oh yeah, people will like me if I've got money. Yes, no one likes you, Elon Musk. No one likes the richest man on the planet. No one does. Because it's unnatural. It's unnatural for one person to have all that wealth while so many people are struggling. Especially in America, when people voted for better lifestyles, more food on the table, cheaper gas. And then Elon Musk comes over and he's like, no, I'm going to take that away from you. Even though he's a welfare queen himself, even though SpaceX and Tesla are reliant on government handouts, not for you, mate, just for me. Give it all to me. I want more. I want more. And it's a mental illness with these people. They just want more. It's never enough for them. So you're on that treadmill of like, I need more. Like, give me more money. But that's not enough. I want more. It's a sad life. It's a sad life. The individual is more important than the state. The individual is more important than the state. All depends how you mean by what you mean by the state. Because that can mean different things. Do you mean a state that advocates true democracy that's actually driven by the people, where the people are making the decisions, they own a stake in their workplace, there's a true democracy that isn't owned by the wealthy? The individual is more important than the state. I don't know about that one. I don't think that's a good question. The individual is more important than the state. I'm going to go slightly disagree with that one. Because we live in a very individualistic society now and it's not working. People want community. They want to talk to their neighbours. They want to be a part of their towns, cities. They yearn for that connection. And a lot of people don't get it. And when they don't, They turn to very dark ideologies. They do. When, certain information, they're being fed, drip fed for years, decades, and then it's like, yeah, immigrants are the problem. Trans people are the problem. Really? They're the reason why you can't afford a house? Yeah. People believe it because you repeat a lie long enough, it becomes the truth. Donald Trump knows that. He said it. He knows it. He knows he's lying constantly because he made a deal with Facebook in 2016. He said, "Don't fact check me, and I won't regulate you." This is how these people operate. He doesn't care about truth. He doesn't care about anybody but Donny, and that's fascism. Politically speaking, the state is a second-order consequence. The derived effect of people laying claim to their homeland and flourishing. Oh, that's mad. Politically speaking, the state is a second-order consequence. The derived effect of people laying claim to their homelands and flourishing there. That sounds very fascistic to me, like laying state homelands and flourishing there. Like, I don't believe anyone has a monopoly on a certain part of land. It seems so silly to me. Like, you were born somewhere, like specifically, like I was born in a hospital in a very specific place. Is that mine now? Is that mine? Like that specific bit where I came out of my mother's thing. Is that mine? Like how much land? I honestly think it's very silly. Like I've always thought it's like, it doesn't make sense to me. There's no logical thing there of like, these people were born there, so that's where they live, and that's where they live, and if you move, we're gonna have problems. It's like, what? Because for example, like the Mexican American border, up until the 80s and 90s, there was a natural movement between back and forth. So you had Mexicans going in, working a little bit, coming out, Americans going a little bit. There was a natural movement. And it was only in the 90s where they were like, we need a hard border for reasons, for political reasons. Like, this gets people excited. This will get us in power. And then people don't naturally move, they stay in. So you have more people staying in America. So hard borders don't really work, especially in this example. People are more likely to stay in America. So it increases the incentive to go over to America. Whereas if you don't have that hard border, people won't necessarily. People want to stay in Mexico. They want to like go back and forth. A natural movement of people. It is a natural thing. The struggle between rich and poor, between capital owners and labourers is a more significant driver of history than the struggle between nations. Totally agree. Class consciousness, history is the struggle between the working class and the owners. It just is. Go back 5,000 years, it's a constant battle, and that's what we need to talk more about. But it's hard to talk about it because they don't want us talking about it. They never do. They want us talking about trans issues. They want us to talk about immigration. But really, class consciousness and the people who make, the makers and the takers, that's the real dynamic. Always has been, always will be. And we need to get back to that. But, there's a reason they don't like talking about protests. They don't like talking about people having a voice, the bin men, people exercising their democratic right to withdraw their labor. They get very excited. It's like, millionaires can move out. It's fine. Yeah, millionaires. But when a bin man exercises his right and say, yeah, I'm gonna, leave as it were. They're like, oh no, you can't do that. Okay. It really is different rules for us. The mode of organisation employed by the military is an efficient one, and institutions like schools, the police, and firefighters could generally benefit from adopting more of the military. I disagree with that. An efficient one. What do you mean by efficient? I mean, efficient in what way? That's a vague thing. Like efficient. Are they efficient? Really? Um, yeah, I don't know about that. I don't think they're necessarily more efficient than schools, the police, firefighters. I don't. I don't agree with that one. Moving on. Politicians have a responsibility not to upset the traditional ways of communities that live according to their time-honored customs, values, and creeds. Politicians disagree. Not fully, but disagree. Upset the... No, that... Politicians, I think they should have a respect for those, but also we should have a discussion of how life should be or could be better for the majority. And if those traditional ways and communities are harmful to those people in some way, maybe we're doing things that we shouldn't be doing, I think we need to question that and have a discussion. Go, okay, we've been doing this slavery thing or colonialism or treatment of women, treatment of minorities, and it's harmful to those people. Shall we do something different? And then we go, okay, what do you want to do? Well, can we give them rights? Can we not treat them like this? And they go, yeah, okay. And then we move on. It works quite well. A person who has nothing to hide has nothing to fear from the government surveillance. Disagree massively. Disagree massively. That's a silly one. To view consumer goods and an increase in living standards as an ends in themselves is a sign of moral corruption and decadence. What? To view consumer goods and an increase in living standards as ends in themselves is a sign. Disagree with that. I think consumer goods, good. I like consumer goods, food and stuff. And an increase in living standards, also good. As an ends in themselves is... No, disagree. The individual cannot really claim any rights against the state, since it is the state that grants him these rights. Disagree. The individual cannot really claim any rights against the state. I mean, in a technical level, maybe. No, I don't. Are all rights inherently given by the state? I disagree. I disagree completely. All people are essentially worth the same, no matter their race, gender. Oh, completely agree. I mean, this is the one question, really, right? All people are essentially worth the same, no matter their race. I mean, this is the fascist question. Like, are people the same? Yeah, of course. What makes me more valuable than, like, inherently? Is it race, nationality, IQ? So if you've got a higher IQ than me, you're a woman? Like, what? But a lot of people would fail this question, which is insane. It's not logical or efficient to have several companies all making the same tire, the same wrench, or the same cable. So the state should step in and coordinate their efforts. It's not logical, efficient. I don't know. The market can do some good stuff there. Like, there's certain ways the market is efficient, and then there's certain ways it isn't. So I don't think you necessarily need the government making same cables, wrenches, same tires. No, I don't. I disagree with that one. Democracy is dangerous to competent statecraft because it forces every political decision to be lowered to levels. Disagree massively. We need more democracy. We never talk about that. We never talk about actually do need more democracy, like a real democracy. What is democracy? Because we don't really have a democracy. Like, people aren't happy with Keir Starmer, but he'll continue what he's doing. And yeah, he'll get booted out in a couple of years. Obviously, he will. But it'd be the same people represented. Like, it'd be the capital class. Whoever wins, maybe even the Greens win, which would be very unlikely. That's only one party that could stir things up. When it comes down to it, politics most is mostly about the distribution of money, materials, and resources. A people's value and religion are just icing on the cake. Agree to an extent. When it comes to that, politics, is mostly about distribution of money, materials. Yeah, I mean it is to an extent, but they make it seem like this is a zero-sum game. That's what fascism does. It's like, oh, minorities are taking over the white majority, and you're not getting a job. It's like, no, there's plenty of resources, plenty of jobs, and with a plan for the economy, we could build so many jobs. Like the technological advances and possibilities are endless. The imagination, what we could do, the society we could build, could be amazing jobs in the UK. High speed rail. Imagine real, real infrastructure. Some of the best roads in the world. Those smart. There's so much we could do. Really, just think about it. Like for a moment, like the houses, the apartments, the cities we could build, building for the future, building for the 21st century. What's Britain going to look like? A real shake up of like what we could do. Because they did that after the post-war consensus, after World War II. They rebuilt the country with a vision for the future, hope for the future. And I hope we can do that in the next couple of decades. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. Maybe things have to get worse before they get better. But yeah, just imagine what we could do. Like, that really does give me hope, actually. Like, the possibilities for the future. Like, that's what you've got to grasp onto. Because they don't want us thinking about that. They want us thinking, like, oh, it's going to be like this forever. No, none of this is inevitable. The free market is the most efficient way to organize economy known to man. No, sometimes it has efficiencies. Certain things it does. But often it doesn't. Because it just drives profit. It's profit over everything else. So in some ways it's efficient with making a lot of money, but the well-being of the population, the workers, the environment, people's mental health, no, it's not efficient. Like companies often aren't very efficient. They do things the hard way, they outsource stuff which they could do in-house for cheaper. By focusing on short-term profit, often they won't invest in longer-term profits, so they actually make less in they are so efficient. Like the idea that somehow the free market is efficient is for the birds. Like look at the evidence. The massive inefficiencies. So obviously not. There's a reason why they need the state. They rely on the state to bail them out because they don't really believe in the free market. Obviously they don't. Because if they did, Elon Musk would be nowhere. You would not know who Elon Musk is today. A plurality of political parties is necessary to ensure that no one circle of individuals. Oh, massively so. We don't have enough. Like, that's the problem, especially in America. You have Democrats or Republicans. There's no real choice between the two. And it's the same in Labour and Tories. I'm sorry, there's no differentiation between those two right now. I'm sorry, they are exactly the same. And in some ways, I think Labour are worse. Tories are incompetent in their just incoherence, but Labour, they know exactly what they're doing, and I think they're a bit more competent, and that's more dangerous. That's more dangerous in some ways. So, yes, we need more. We need a real alternative to the left. Like Green Party are great, but they need to be stronger. They need to have some feistiness. They need to be fighting strong, which they're not at the moment. But yeah, we need a plural of voices. That's a healthy democracy. Healthy democracy. Most governments in Europe are coalitions. I mean, a coalition between the Green Party and the Lib Dems would be better than Labour, I think. They would push us in a better direction. But will that happen? Maybe. A lot is going to happen in the next few years. It's quite exciting. The political challenges of today are so serious that they can no longer be solved with the traditional paradigms of political thought. I disagree with that because we know the problems. It's wealth consolidated at the top. They are astroturfing right-wing YouTubers. They have the power, the monopoly on the media. People are being drip-fed disinformation about all kinds of nonsense, and they've bought into it. That's why Donald Trump. But the solution is economic. It's how our economy works. And neoliberalism has failed. We need to go back to more of a Keynesian model where we tax the wealth and build infrastructure. And people need to have more say in the workplace. They need a voice. We need to be looking at how democracy is extended to the workplace. We just do in the long term. It's the only way. And look at what the economy in the UK is going to look like in the 21st century. If a people hasn't accomplished much throughout the course of its history, that tells you something about silly. Like, what do you mean by what? Because is that financial? Is that cultural? Is that artistic? Is that, I mean, there's many different ways of thinking of that. And this is like the question of like, oh, the West is so superior. Is it? Really? Like the things we've done on like economically, yes, amazing stuff. Culturally, yes. But often it's on the back of other people. And capitalism really was birthed through racism, slavery, colonialism. That's the foundations of it. And when you have the foundations of your ideology, that generally it doesn't mean it's good. I just don't think you can really have a good system that's built on the suffering of and slaughter and genocide of people. Maybe I'm woke. Maybe that's too politically correct. Maybe we could build a better system. Just saying. Classical liberalism is essentially an ideology of the past, and modern attempts to reinstate, aka neo, are bound to lead to wars. Classical liberalism is essentially an ideology of the past, and modern attempts to reinstate it. To an extent, yeah, because it's that resources. It's neoliberalism is somewhat neocolonial. It's about resource extraction from Africa, and we're seeing this across the world. It's just not sustainable. Like, colonialism didn't end. It's just changed its face. So, yeah, it's part of the past. Liberalism is dead. Liberalism is dead. It's socialism or barbarism. Sorry, just that's how it is. There are no universal ethics. What is true and good for one people may be false. Yeah, I mean, there is no universal ethics. That's the point. Ethics is not universal. They change throughout time. What was ethical 2,000 years ago in Roman times would not be ethical today. Yeah, it changes throughout time. And I think we're getting better. We're moving in the right direction. Sometimes we go back a bit. We are with trans rights in the UK. But we are going in the right direction. And agree. There are no universal. Yeah, I agree with that one. Yeah. If a state is to protect the freedom of its citizens in the long run, the state itself must be free to make controversial or unlawful decisions when disagree. That is the fascistic sense. In America, Trump deporting people without due process. They think it's okay for them. It's like, well, there's a bigger thing here, so we don't have to employ due process, the legal framework. And he's exempt, so he can do whatever he wants. The rules don't apply to Donald Trump. He won't be prosecuted for doing his work. This is fascism, classic fascism. The rules of democracy, accountability don't apply to them. And evidence either. They don't have to tell the truth. They can just create their own bespoke realities. And we're seeing it. We see it when Donald Trump talks. He lies constantly. I honestly don't think he said anything factual unless by accident. Like with what Jeffrey Epstein said about him. Trump has never done anything good but by accident. He's not a good guy. He's not an honest guy. He's not a nice guy. He doesn't care about anybody but Trump. But he was brought up in the environment. So what do you expect? The economic losses from worker strikes and employer lockouts are just too massive to allow market forces. The economic losses from worker strikes and employee lockouts are just too massive to allow market forces to figure these out by themselves. By themselves? Disagree. The economic system works there. Are just too massive to allow market forces to sort these things out by themselves. Disagree. I mean, worker strikes. We live in a democracy. What voices do the workers have if they can't strike? That's why Elon Musk and Trump are against unions, because they don't care about democracy and the workers. They suppress them. They don't care. Why would they care about this? The voice of people. There's no logic to that. They are billionaires. Like, it's so silly that people actually buy into anything they say, because it's obviously false. Obviously false. I think I'm right on that one. It might skew the... In the end, economic and technological strength cannot compete with the spiritual strength of a people. Oh, last one's funny. In the end, economic and technological strength cannot compete with the spiritual strength that a faith has. Disagree. Disagree. That's it. Finish. Let's finish it. Let's see the results. Scared then. I'm not a fascist, see? So if anyone calls me a fascist now, which some people have, naughty, it's not true. You're 26% fascist, which makes you not a fascist. Yes! While your political outlook may share a few or even quite a few of fascism's fundamental doctrines, oh Jesus, it's overall safe to say your political orientation is not a fascist one. Yes! Now you may have find this result unsurprising, but in reality, most people have at least some points of agreement with fascism, since fascism is really a mix of communism, socialism, conservatism, and liberalism, with a few innovations of its own thrown in. Hence, adjusting for these factors, even though your fascism percentage might seem quite high, mine isn't 26, there is really nothing surprising about these agreements when viewed in the proper historical context. So rest assured, your political beliefs are definitely not fascist. Great. So I'll put the link to this in the description if you want to do it yourself and see how fascist you are. Comment below how fascist you are. Are you more fascist? Are you less fascist to me? There's a racism test. Comment below if you want me to do a racism test to see how racist I am. And I'll see you in the next video.